Hiya, and welcome back to Wonderland. Oh my god, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited. Sorry about that, I'm so excited, dude. We got brand new classes, 2 of them that look incredibly interesting and honestly dividing my heart, man. I can't pick. Also, I want more clarity. Like the spells, I keep seeing them in like casting, or like I don't know if every spell is kind of just additive. It's not like it can replace weapons. I don't know if that's the case, so I want more answers in that department. But ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be gushing and breaking down the new characters, and seeing them in action, all of these things. Essentially, just to be real quick about it, there's 2 new characters, the Spellshot and the Clawbringer, which the Clawbringer is a little bit weirder. I think it's clawbering and claw. So claw and clawbering. So there's a dragon, and then there's a giant Thor hammer. Okay, anyways. Spellshot, you just can dual cast. It's super simple. It's way easier to think about. Before we get into me rambling about the Spellshot, here is what it actually says verbatim, given Gearbox's understanding of their own game. This is their breakdown of what the Spellshot is. Spellshots are gun-toting wizards who unleash a constant barrage of spells and bullets and transform their enemies into harmless livestock with the snap of their finger. Whether they're slinging spells or shooting shells, Spellshots know that in Wonderland, an adventurer survives by force of arms and arcane. While others may view their guns as mere weapons, the Spellshot has trained rigorously until it became an extension of their own magical will, weaving guns and grimoire together to enhance their spells and imbue their weapons. Also, they can turn enemies into fuzzy little animals, and it's hilarious. Awesome. Spellshots are all about combining spells with guns. Able to equip 2 spells, their spell weaving ability increases spell damage and fire rate as they cast spells or reload, allowing them to seamlessly cycle between different methods of dealing damage. While enemies get too rowdy, their polymorph ability can take an enemy out of the fight by transforming them into a harmless sheep. Oh my god, ladies and gentlemen, if that doesn't make you excited as hell to play the magic class, I don't know what will. Although I will say, with the gameplay that you guys are currently seeing in the background with the Spellshot, which by the way, so many cool different spells we're seeing in action, so many cool things to break down, which we'll do in a minute here. I don't know, man. I've been hearing people say that this is like a dual-wielding spell class, which is true, but it's also more than that. You're going to be able to dual-wield. You're going to be also able to do a polymorph skill, or polymorph activation, which is huge. But predominantly, they're trying to mix classes. This very much feels like the spell sword in classic D&D, except it's the gun spell sword thing, whatever. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Spell sword, spell shot. Yeah, never mind, that makes complete sense. Spell gun would not be as catchy. Anywho, but yeah, the more you use and go back and forth between spells and guns, reloading and casting, you're going to be building damage and fire rate. That's amazing. And you're going to be cycling in between those things, seemingly just wrecking shop. The one thing I will say that worries me just a tinge is that they were saying in the trailer, if you watch it, they say that this is the ideal class for people who want to use magic. And to me, I was hoping that there'd be a class that is like strictly, selfishly just magic, because there is a legendary variability and like the classic Gearbox weird engine of 1,000 different parts in one gun that is also in spells, wands, and I believe hand magic, things like that, staffs and all that stuff. So I do think, like, if they, like, to me, unlike also the melee, apparently the melee weapons have a lot of variability too, but just not to the extent of like spells having different abilities and different kind of tinges to them. But hopefully there's ways to regenerate your AP, and hopefully the gameplay that we keep seeing is somebody not holding down and bottoming out their AP. Because if they don't do that, then we can't really see if you can constantly just keep firing off spells and never have to really shoot a bullet if you don't want to. But regardless, Spellshot is very much the bread and butter of if you want to do both, and both feeding intrinsically into themselves. Also, again, you're going to be able to dual cast with this thing. Apparently no other class has the ability to dual cast. I think it just means dual cast spells. But I wonder if you could cast a spell in one hand and use your wand or your staff or something else in the other. I don't know. Regardless, they also have a polymorph skill that's fantastic. And again, I feel like you can't go wrong if you just want to have some dual wield magic and a little bit of spell damage and a little bit of ramping up on damage and whatever other magic class they maybe have. Maybe that aforementioned beast tamer class or summoner class. Please, for the love of God, Gearbox, give us the summoner class and make it good. Like, not like Flak, which was kind of good at the very end of the fucking game's life cycle. Jesus Christ. Anyway, speaking of a pet class, let us get into Clawbringer, which I believe is claw and then clawbering. Anyway, I could be off, but here is the description of this aforementioned class. Clawbringers are faithful warriors who bring down thunder and flame upon their enemy with a spectral hammer alongside their fire-breathing wyvern companion, aka we're Thor, and we have a pet dragon, baby. The Clawbringers are an order of warriors who seek to bring heroism to Wonderland through fire and thunder. Well, it has long been rumored that Clawbringers are born with dragon blood in their veins. Our legal scholars can neither confirm nor deny such blasphemous heresy. They fucked a dragon. Rough, unlucky, gross also. Furries, all of them, or scaly, whatever it's called. You know what? Let's just talk about the game mechanics. Let's not get into the minutia of what that would actually mean. Clawbringers focus on fire and lightning. The Clawbringers' dragon aura empowers their whole party with additional fire damage and more. They can either throw their spectral hammer at an enemy to deal sizzling lightning damage or slam it down on the ground to create a massive fire nova. Their trusty wyvern companion flies at their side, breathing fire upon enemies and raking them with razor-sharp claws. Ooh boy! Love to hear it. Okay, so by the way, just a quick breakdown. You're seeing gameplay of it, but you're essentially going to have two main abilities. If you go fire, I think you're going to be relegated to having to do slams. Based on the class information that we just read, seems like what we can infer. So essentially, when you do fire, you're going to have to do up close and personal slam, similar to Amara, it seems like. Also similar to the Berserker, which also makes sense. It seems like classes have relegated like power or elements essentially. So hopefully there's one for dark magic. That'll be a blast. Maybe that's a Stapomancer, I don't know. And of course, you're also going to have the ability to throw your Electro Hammer, which will leave an AoE of Electro on its place and also give you the ability to recall it, which is pretty dope. And as for your Wyvern, it seems like it's more support-based and just kind of additive, but I am curious because he is the Clawbringer. So I wonder if that Claw, you can specialize down his class to specifically buff your bird. That way you could synergize the Clawbringer with maybe the Spellmancer. That way you don't have to have like gameplay that kind of devours time, you know what I mean? You can essentially have a bird that's kicking ass, taking names, buffing you, and you can also have your base gameplay, which is you just casting spells all the time, you know? So I'm very curious about how these classes intersect and weave together. But anyways, one thing that is present in a lot of these classes is that it does seem like each class seemingly has a greater depth of support abilities. So it does seem like they are pushing for co-op ability. Hopefully it's not needed, but it is helpful and nice and fun to do. Because that was something that was always lovely about Borderlands, that it's one of the best co-op games to play with your friends, but I will say sometimes when it's scaled off of having to play co-op is a little annoying for me personally. But ladies and gentlemen, that is I have two questions right now. One, I want to see how things intrinsically play together. So we have the Spellshot. How does that work? So you have a gun, you have a melee weapon, you have potentially 2 spells now, but we've seen gameplay of you being able to basically have a gun and then cast 2 spells. And also, is the Spellshot only able to do dual casting, or is it only hand magic? Yeah, because if that's the case, then I don't know. I feel like it'll be like, yeah, like I feel like just a Spellbreaker with just having the ability just to have a gun that's constantly ripping into people and getting a greater fire rate. And then also probably having a way to reload if you kill someone with magic, I could see being a skill. But anyways, the ability just to like, on top of you shooting things, on top of you polymorphing things, you just have a giant like double cast super expenditure of AP at your fingertips at any point. And maybe when you get gun kills you could regenerate AP or mana. How that could like bulldoze and scale, that seems wicked and pretty fun. But then the Spellshot, the Clawbringer also seems really interesting. Like the idea that you have this Wyvern that could potentially always be giving you buffs, or even just hucking Thor's hammer and just locking down a zone and melting them like that. Seems also really viable. So I'm just curious about how everything looks in practice. Like, is the Spellshot going to have something where you can equip 2 spells into one slot? So when you cast your E or your action skill, you're going to just immediately cast it? Or are you going to be having the ability to have like 3 action skills? Or are we relegated to just 2? How does that all work? Is the bird, your little pet, is that even considered a spell, like an action skill? Or is that like yeah, I have no idea how it looks essentially. And I'm even more curious with my second question. is how do things feed into each other? So again, I kind of keep mentioning it, but like the Spellshot to me would intrinsically make sense with anything that's an elemental additive. So for instance, the Clawbringer, say if you want to invest in like a spells that have Electro, and then the Clawbringer specializes in upgrading your, or dealing more fire or Electro damage, and has a pet, maybe you could just go down his skill tree, the Clawbringer's, and hybridize both skill trees, while making your magic your predominant fun class, where you can kind of choose a bunch of different skills and have fun and also have good weapons, kind of killing two birds with one stone. And speaking of birds, or dragons, you also have your little dragon flying above head, fucking shit up and giving you various buffs, and maybe even amplifying your elemental damage, at least for Electro. So things like that could feel really fun to melt into each other if that's how it works. But I don't know. All I know is that the spells look sick, the worlds look interesting, and the classes keep looking more and more endearing, and I'm like, I don't know what I want to hybridize. I know I want to go Summoner. I hope the Summoner doesn't look like basic as shit, because all the Clawbringer and the Spellshot look pretty goddamn intricate. I don't know, but also I am hoping that there is a class that is a selfish mage, that isn't a spell sword, but just a straight up spell. Mage. I just want to cast spells forever. I don't want to have to shoot a gun in this game. Not that I don't want to do that, just that it's a new game, it's magic, I want to fuck with some magic, you know what I mean? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hearing me ramble and rave about this whole thing. Much love as always, a little scattered, but I am very, very excited for good old Borderlands. Also, one thing, a little bit of housekeeping and tidiness. I did want to say that as the time is progressing more and more, and we're learning more and more bits and pieces about like artifacts, runes, and a little bit of tidbits like that. Again, we don't have clarity, or I can't really show you what the hell that looks like, so I don't really want to bring it up too much. But I will say that it does look like there's not armor in the game. I feel like the cosmetic armor and the tools and legendary farming are different, because the more I see the pre-order bonuses and such, the more I see different types of armor that they're offering, and it does look like various different skins. The good news is that a lot of the skins look dope as hell in like 6 different ways, essentially. Like you look like a rogue class, you look like this, you look like that. You look like you're going to be okay, essentially. Hopefully you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble about a game that I'm super excited for, and I hope you are too. Let me know what kind of class you're rocking. Also, we stream a metric F-ton at these given times at 5 p.m. Mountain Time on these given days, and hopefully I can see you there. Thank you so much for your time. Let me know how hyped and what class you rocking in Borderlands. Maybe even drop by the streams and let me know. I would love to hear about it. Thank you kindly for your time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night, a day, morning, whatever, and goodbye, my friends.